Welcome to the Created Creators Podcast, a show where two regular dudes who enjoy creating content talk about content from their Christian perspectives, and they happen to be buddies. My name is Andrew Sprott, and this is my buddy,
Guerra, Mikael, born November 26, 1993.
93. Well, we are back for the 20th episode.
What?
Of the Created Creators Podcast. It is a great occasion, and Michael's obviously very excited for this.
Dude, I am hyped. This is a good milestone. I like it. 20.
Yeah.
Like I can't. Like this is it. After this is like my fingers and my toes. That's it. No more. Now I'm gonna have to use a calculator.
Yep. Exactly. Or you can use your other facial features like your eyes and your nose and your tongue.
No, I can't. See, I can't see my eyes unless I use a mirror, and now this is too much work.
You can stick out your tongue, and that could be 21. There you go.
I guess I can see my tongue.
Yeah, exactly. So you got one more episode.
But if I cross-eye, I can see my nose.
I'm pretty sure your nose is already sticking out. Oh, so does that mean that you've been using the wrong amount of fingers and toes this entire time because your nose has been there?
Ha! Yeah, I guess so. Well, man, I have not been creating content, as people who are subscribed to my channel may have noticed. I've just been too busy. I haven't been able to do any content, and the content I am creating is like not for YouTube stuff, because now I'm working on a project for my sister's graduation party, and it's not going on YouTube. It's just a simple slideshow, but it's work and it's stuff on my computer.
Oh, you're making the video for their graduation?
No, not that. My sister's graduation party. She's having a little celebration with a few people, just a little shindig, and I am making a slideshow with music for her.
Wait, wasn't that last or a Friday or two ago?
No, that was the ceremony. The ceremony was that day. She had two separate things. One was the ceremony, one was the party. But yeah, that's what I'm working on, is working on a slideshow, and it's a really long slideshow. So it's like, okay, what would have been video editing this week is now being spent on that.
I didn't know. I thought that was the party, and that's why I was kind of bummed I couldn't come.
No, you didn't miss it.
Oh, snap. So is it this Friday?
As of recording, it's this Saturday.
Oh, it's this Saturday. Ooh, I might actually be able to come. Hey.
Hey, y'all.
That's epic. I know that we're having...
I'm going to chew on my hot dog for a minute, so you talk.
Okay. I know that we're having a graduation ceremony for some of the seniors at our church tomorrow or today as of posting.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Which is absolutely insane to think about, because I feel like it was just yesterday that I remember I was going to the church for my graduation ceremony.
Wasn't it last year?
Yeah, it was. It was. And I remember it like it was yesterday. It was really fun. And I have a feeling that this one's going to be pretty similarly fun, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but I do remember one of the things that came along with that graduation ceremony was I had to make a video or I didn't have to, but it was Davelin's idea to make a video to try to make our parents cry during the ceremony.
I remember this.
So, yeah. So I made the video, and she made the script, I made the video, and we played it in the ceremony. And so when you mentioned the video in graduation, I was like, oh, I wonder if Michael's making Alexa's this time, or if she's making hers. She should be, since she is probably the best editor out of the people that are graduating tomorrow. Maybe she could put something together.
She is actually in the middle of working on her graduation ceremony's video.
Oh, well, what is that? Is that for tomorrow or for?
No. Like the graduation, she graduated with Lighthouse, which is a homeschool support group.
Oh yeah.
And they had their own ceremony at this church that allowed us to use their facility. And it was shot on film and stuff. One of her cameras was used as well, along with other people's cameras, and she's putting it all together into one long video. And It's gonna look good in her portfolio. Let me just say that, because now she can tell people, I can film your graduation ceremony.
Yeah. Is she posting that on AJ Noise or?
No, she might. I mean, she might post something if she's able to on there, but the lighting is very bad. But people aren't watching for the lighting; they just want to see themselves with their kid and stuff.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So graduation, it's crazy. I feel like it was literally my graduation like yesterday. Like this is the first time I felt like, wait, what? It's not. That was like not like 2 days ago. What?
Well, now you're going to college.
Yeah, I'm going to. Well, yeah, I haven't officially announced that, but yeah, I am.
Oh, bleep
Soon.
that out. Don't put that in there.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out.
It's been prayed about in Bible study, so like it's not like it was secret. Like
yeah. As far as online activity, I haven't announced it, but.
Oh, so like your YouTube channel needs like the drop if you want to do that. You can't do that here.
Well, so here's the thing. I've said this before, and I'll stick to my guns. The people who listen to the show are the true fans, and so they get to know that type of information before everybody else. So I'm okay with it.
Well, there you go. Andrew's going to college.
Yeah. I have speaking of just going into the content creation side of things, like what we've been doing, or at least what I've been doing, I can talk about a video that will be hopefully going up next Friday. Not this upcoming Friday, but next Friday. I haven't shot it yet, but I'm planning on doing a, like, kind of similar to how I did my testimony video, kind of doing an overarching entire, like, life story video. So, and then...
Are you going to do it the same way?
Kind of the same way, where I just sit down and I talk and like kind of just give like the timeline and my thoughts around things and stuff like that. And I'm obviously going to include my testimony and stuff like in it, but like it won't be as long as the actual testimony video.
Right.
But I'm going to end that video most likely with saying, and now I'm going to college. So yeah, because I turn 20 a week from now, actually. Which is going to be, that's pretty cool. When
dude, 20th episode, 20 years.
We almost planned it exactly perfectly. If we would have skipped this week and not posted episode 20 this week, it would have been perfect. The episode 20 would have gone up.
We're just going to skip this week.
Yeah, we're just going to skip it. This was this was recorded 2 weeks ago. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't.
No. We'll record an episode next week too.
Yeah. So when episode 21 goes up, that will be the day of my birth, which is July 23rd. So yeah, it's pretty epic. I'm really excited for next week, especially just mainly because my girlfriend's coming into town, and that's like extremely exciting. And I haven't told a lot of people that, but it's something that's happening.
Yeah, so since you said it on the episode, I'm just gonna say a lot of your good friends already know that she's coming because she's literally invited to your birthday party. So it's like
yeah,
if she's in this group chat, she's gonna be there.
That is true. I asked her. I was like, hey, do you want to be in the group chat for the birthday party hangout? And she was like,
she just wants.
I don't know any of these friends. People, and I'm like,
she's gonna know them. She's got to. Listen, as a bro to bro who's doing long distance dating, like my wife was in Washington State, your girlfriend is in California State. I don't know why I said state. Doesn't matter. We know California is. Listen, Linda, the best way to get to know someone, to make sure that they are who you think they are as you're getting to know them, is to get to know the people that they hang out with. Because
who the heck is Linda? First of all, I'm confused.
Oh, you don't know the reference to Listen, Linda?
No. Who the heck is Linda?
I will send you the video after recording, and I'm going to write that down because I don't want to forget. I'm going to actually have the video. I'm going to have that video up. Listen, Linda. There.
I was really scared that you were calling my girlfriend Linda.
No, I'm telling you. Okay, I'm just going to tell you without the reference. Listen, Andrew.
Oh, okay.
When you are dating someone, whether you're aware of it or not, there's a big portion of trying to put your best foot forward, and some people try to be as real as they can, but it's inevitable. You're going to be on your best behavior as much as you can. It's not till a little later that you start seeing a little bit more of the sinful side of this person. So the best way to get to know somebody, that I think is like my number one piece of advice, besides, make sure they're Christian, is see what kind of people they hang out with, who their friends are, and who their family is, if they have a good relationship with their family. Because those people don't really care what you think of them, because they're not dating you. So they're going to be themselves. And it'll tell you a lot about the kind of person your significant other hangs out with. Like, these are your friends, so this is how you are, and this is what you surround yourself with. So that's a very good way to find out who you are. So if your girlfriend really wants to know who you are, she's gonna get to know the craziness that is your friends, mostly Darren.
It's so true though. When I was in California, I was like, yeah, when you meet Darren, I'm gonna be very curious what's going to happen. It's gonna be very interesting. Like, it's Darren, so like I'm just excited for that mainly. But
I'm just excited she's gonna be meeting a lot of your best friends, because everyone's gonna be there. So it's like, this is gonna be a good sampling of the person that is Andrew.
It is.
But you should definitely try to hang out with her friends sometime next time you visit.
Yeah, I got the opportunity when I went a month ago to hang out quite a bit with her family and friends, and it was pretty great. It was a pretty great time, and they're genuinely good people. So
that's good.
Yeah,
it's a good sign if their friends aren't complete dirtbags.
Yeah, I am slightly worried a little bit more for her though, because I have so many people that I would consider to be friends. I'm trying not to sound arrogant in that, but there's a lot of people that I am friends with, so it can seem a little bit overwhelming if I'm looking at it from her perspective, because like on my side, going to her state, it was a lot less than
I know what you're trying to say.
People.
Yeah. Well, you said Rebecca listens, right?
Yeah, she loves this show.
Hi, hopefully. Rebecca. So here's some advice for you. Don't be overwhelmed with how many friends Andrew has hanging out with him when you visit, because my wife remembers zero about the people that she met when she visited me when we were dating. Because
really?
like she's good friends with some of my friends now. She and she knows who my friends are now, but she's like there was one time I had a bunch of my friends over and we were having some beer and movie and Bible study one time, and one of my friends
beer and Bible study.
Well, yeah, we were having some good stout. Anyway, actually, our listeners, if they listen to this episode, they know who the friend is. It's actually the other Andrew that stood in for our Andrew. He spilled beer all over my wife when she came in to visit.
What?
And it was an accident, but it was so funny. And she didn't remember who it was. She knew it happened, but like every time I tell her, like, "Oh, Andy's the one that spilled beer on you," she's like, "Okay, I know who Andy is now. I just don't remember anything about who I met and what happened. All the faces are just a blur." But now she knows. So like, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. You're just there to get to know Andrew and his friends. I don't expect you to know.
You've just added a whole new level of stress that I have to worry about. I didn't even think about like accidents that could happen. Gosh.
Said the guy who broke his knee.
I know, but like I didn't break my knee, to be clear. Oh, I guess I can talk about that because
that's an update. Do tell, Andrew. Do tell.
Yeah, I got my results back. From my MRI last
Dude,
Wednesday.
You got off so easy.
I did.
Tell them what happened first.
I basically, I went and got the MRI, and I went into the doctor's office on Wednesday.
No. People don't even know what happened to your leg.
Oh, I didn't tell that on last episode? I feel like I said that I messed up my leg.
Oh, you kind of did? Yeah, you just didn't
I didn't
say
tell the story, maybe? I don't know.
I think you just said you broke your leg, but you didn't say how.
Okay, so it's really dumb. It's almost not even worth the story, but I'll say it. I was at Dylan's house, our friend Dylan's house, who's been in a couple of videos of mine. And I was climbing up his stairs. There was a baby gate midway up the stairs, and I tried to climb over it, like how you would a baby gate. You put one leg over and then you swing the other leg around, right? Like, come on, this is basic human movements. But I was having a little bit of a harder time because the hallway of the stairs was like thinner than my legs were really used to, I guess, because I've got really long legs. And so I swung my left leg over it, and I was about midway over when I felt my right knee popped to the right side, as opposed to forward or backwards like a normal knee. And I caught myself, thankfully, on the railing, so I didn't fall, but it popped back into place as soon as I caught myself, and then it was hurting pretty badly after that. For the next few hours, and it started to get really swollen. And so, yeah, I went to the
fast forward
room.
to the MRI.
Yeah, I went to the emergency room. They said I need an MRI. 2 weeks later, I get an MRI and get the results. And he said that the biggest thing was, I think it was, he didn't give me specifics because I don't think they could know this, but my guess is that when it popped to the side, it was my kneecap dislocating to the side, I guess. And then as soon as I caught myself and it popped back into place, it was the kneecap popping back into place. So it's a very real possibility that, it was like the dislocation pain of it popping it back into place. That was initially the big time pain. Because when I went to the doctors, he was like, "Oh, don't worry, it popped back into place. We're not sure when, but it did." So I didn't have to have them like snap it, and plus it would have been hurting a lot more for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, no surgery, no nothing. Like,
no surgery.
The Lord.
It is. My knee is filled with a lot of blood and other stuff, and it's still pretty swollen. Not near as much, but I basically just have to do physical therapy for the next 4 weeks, I believe. And so, like, twice a week, 4 weeks.
But you're still able to go to work.
That's subjective right now. It's basically whenever I want to go back to work, because it's hard to explain. I can walk. Like, I walked down to church today without my crutches. I'm walking around the house. I haven't used the crutches.
Andrew, do you make that sound like it's such a big deal? You live on the church property.
Yeah, this is true. But I haven't used the crutches in, like, the last week.
Okay, so since I last saw you.
Yeah, so I'm walking around. The problem is I have a little bit of a limp because my knee can't fully extend and fully bend. So
you're in this weird middle.
Yeah, I'm in this weird middle position where I can walk, but the idea of being on my feet and walking around for 5, 6, maybe even 7 hours just sounds so bad to me right now.
Yeah.
It might not necessarily actually be bad for me. It just does not sound like a fun time. Right. And so, along with that, I got a lot of stuff coming up in the next week, and I just kind of came to the idea that, like, I'm gonna wait a little bit for my knee to get better, and then wait for some things to go past, and then, so most likely I'll start work at the end of the month or beginning of next month.
How did your injury change, if at all, your ability to shoot videos that you had planned on shooting?
Oh snap! That's a good question. So basically, during the week or two before I got the injury, I had shot 2 or 3 videos that were pretty solid videos. And so I hadn't edited them, but I shot them. So those were like 3 of the 4 videos I had for July. So I had already shot the majority of videos I needed for July before I got the injury, so it didn't super much affect, like, my schedule. I do have to shoot that video, like I was talking about, for next week, but that's more of just a talking one, so it's not really impeding me now. But while I was injured, especially for the first week, I was really tired all the time. And I don't know if that has to do with just being in bed and not being able to walk around. And, you just feel sluggish when you can't walk. And so for the first week, I really didn't do much productively, especially when it comes to video stuff. I know that once the second week, like, swung around, I was, like, actually out and trying. I wasn't moving around much, but I was trying to edit videos and get back on content creation. And so it did affect the first week because I was just so like not able to do almost anything.
I mean, that was also why we missed an episode a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
We said an Instagram conflict of scheduling stuff, but it's like, okay, that was mostly because Andrew couldn't really do much.
And it wasn't even necessarily that I couldn't just set up a microphone and a computer and do it. It was more of like my motivation and my attitude during that time was just not a fantastic like recording time.
I think it's kind of like being tired, because when you're exhausted, it's hard to feel motivated to actually do any of the projects you wanted to do. Like sometimes I'd be like, I have nothing planned for a day after work. And my plan is like, okay, when I get home, I'm going to edit this video, finally. Mm-hmm. And then I get home after having like a crazy hard working day at work. And it's like, nope, don't feel like it.
I definitely get that.
So, but like physical injuries are the same thing. You know, like it's first of all, it's pretty exhausting to get injured that severely like you did. But and once your body's like working hard to heal itself and recover from that pain, it's taken a lot out of you, and especially if you struggle with motivation, if that's something you struggle with, that's just gonna knock you out.
Yeah, I think motivation's like a good topic to have eventually on one of these episodes, but
yeah, because you and I have so much of it.
Yeah, I know, right? I think as far as I did the second week, I did end up creating some content. Like I have my reaction channel that I do, and I usually, when I record stuff for that, I usually record multiple videos in one like session. So I'll record like 3 or 4 reactions at like in the same sit down. But I will break it up into multiple videos, obviously. And so that makes it easier on me. But like along with that, I did a reaction session where I did some videos while I was still in the wheelchair, and it worked out pretty well. And so it didn't entirely impede my ability to create content. I think the only thing that was really impeding my ability to create content was my motivation. Because ultimately, when I was completely bedridden in the first week, if I would have like turned off my TV or Xbox completely and like made it unavailable to myself, I would have been able to get stuff done. Right. But that I would say that the majority of the reason I didn't do any content that week, as far as creating, not publishing because I did publish, but as far as creating, was purely based on motivation, not just because of my injury. The injury added to it, the motivation being lacking, but it wasn't the causation.
Well, I will say that is something I struggle with a lot, is that not just motivation, but like just struggling to be with being idle, which Scripture calls us not to be. I try to be productive with my time, but just sometimes I feel so burnt out that it's hard to gauge when it is okay to just veg out and just say I'm just done with the amount of work I've done today, or is that maybe a reason to keep on pushing? Mm-hmm. It's hard to find that balance sometimes. I think as long as we use our time wisely and use our time intentionally, it tends to kind of work itself out.
So I guess with that, we can go ahead and just start talking about that as a topic in this episode, Michael.
Yeah, that. There's our topic. It was supposed to be about something else, but we're gonna go ahead and push that off and keep talking about this because that's what happened. Mm-hmm. Good thing you broke your leg.
Yeah, it all started with the day I broke my... No, I'm kidding. It all started in the year of 2000 on July 23rd. No.
Oh, my God.
No, it actually all started in the year of 2017 on October 5th when I realized, hey, I need to get my act together. No. Um, but yeah, that actually is a good starting place, I guess, for really starting this topic. When do you feel, Michael, or I guess I can go first if you don't know, but when do you feel was the first few moments in your life of being like, I need to do things not just because I'm required to do things, but because I either want to do them or it's good for me to do them? Like, do you remember, like, when you started developing motivation to do things, either as a kid or as a teenager? Or because I know for me it was a very specific moment, and I'm just curious for what it is for you.
It's an unlisted video where that actually comes up. I don't have that video live anymore on my channel, but it was my original, for my Mikael channel, the original channel intro video, like for people visiting my channel that are not subscribers. I forget what you call it, but it's that video.
The channel trailer.
Yeah, my channel trailer. That's what it was. My channel trailer was a video I made when I had that light bulb moment. Excuse me. And that video was posted in the beginning stages of that channel. It was January 2014. I wouldn't say it was a New Year's resolution, but it kind of acted out that way. I mean, it coincidentally happened in a new year, but I basically was reading my Bible in the year of our Lord 2014, and I remember reading the parables about the master who left, I think it was talents, for his servants.
Oh, yes.
And the ones who used it productively were praised and given more, and the ones who did nothing with it were rebuked. And I remember also reading something about when it came to the concept of tithing, where what the Lord gives you, you give back, because everything you have comes from Him. And I remember thinking the gifts I have in making videos, that the natural talent I have towards editing and shooting, is essentially a gift given to me by God, which is why my business is called Masters Mind Media with an apostrophe S. Masters meaning it's not my mind, it's His mind that gives me my creative bend. So when I thought of that was something given to me, and I wasn't using it, like I wasn't turning it around and using it for His glory, or just using it. I was just letting it collect dust. And collect dust, that wording is specific because that's when it finally hit me, because I was cleaning my room, and I think I was on my last year of college. Yeah, I was in my second year, so I was wrapping up my AA that year, and I remember clearing out my room. And by that, when I started college, most of my video projects had stopped because I was so busy with classes and homework that I couldn't take on any more projects for people. So I stopped making videos. But I also wasn't doing things for myself either. So like all video work had stopped. And I was cleaning my room, and I found my camera equipment, and they were dusty because I wasn't using them. And it really hit me because, especially at the time, like all my camera equipment was at the time worth more than my car. Like if I put because all my camera equipment, from lenses to cameras, because I had multiple cameras, multiple lenses that I had bought over the years, and tripods and fig rigs, like I had, and SD cards, batteries and chargers, all these things that I kept together. There was a time where I always had it in my car because projects would come up so fast or on the fly that I needed to be ready to go. But then when I started going to college, I didn't like leaving them in my car, so I left them in my room because I didn't want my car to get, stolen. I lived in St. Petersburg, Pinellas County, for crying out loud. So I saw, where was I? So I saw my equipment, and that thought came rushing to my mind because all that stuff was stuff that the Lord provided for. Like he got me the funding for this stuff, or the gifts to get it, or all the means, whatever He used. At the time, and now I acknowledge that the Lord provided me that equipment. So when all that study that I was reading, all the things that Scripture was telling me, and then the proverb that says slothfulness casts into a deep sleep, and an idle person will suffer hunger. And I wasn't being idle as a person because I was going to school, but I was idling in what the Lord had given me that I wasn't using, and it felt wasteful, and I felt convicted. So I made a video, like a channel trailer, and I made a couple videos on my Mikael channel, and I started doing like fun projects with. That's the year that I made the Freedom Card. Executive Order the Freedom Card was the name of my video. So that was the year I did the 48-hour film project for the first time, and the only time actually. But that's when, but that was what led me to realizing that I needed to be more motivated and more purposeful in how I used my talents and time.
Yeah. It's funny that the way that you kind of started getting motivated was through a form of content creation, whether it be video or photography. Because in a way, I didn't even realize it at the time, but I was kind of similar. Because quite literally, I started my YouTube channel because I was like, I've always wanted to do this, but I never really got up the like full motivation to do it. But I remember it was December. It was the beginning of December in 2018. And the year prior, a lot of crazy things had happened to me that were very life-changing. In 2017, I was saved. And then in 2018, I was dealing with a lot of real-life things such as dating and traveling and friendships. And it was a whole new territory. And so during December, I was really being not like pushed, but like my parents were very adamant that I was like that I was 18 now and I really needed to get a job. And I had tried kind of casually over the past few months before then to get a job, but never really like went after it. And then I remember there was a day when I had gotten into a fight with my parents about it, and I was so angry because I was like, I don't want to do this. Why would I want to do something that, or why would I do something that I don't want to do? You know what I mean? And so just to like put an end to the arguing, I went out and I went into different stores and different places around here and put in my application, or I was trying to just beg them for a job because I didn't want to be like bothered about getting a job anymore. And I remember I did a lot of walking that day, and the Lord was working on my heart, and I remember I was getting rejected constantly, being like, "Oh, we're not hiring," or "Oh, you have to have this," or "Oh, we just hired 2 new people," and stuff. And I was really, really upset.
Yeah.
I remember coming home and being really upset, and along with that, I was struggling with a lot of other things that were going on in my life, just personally, as far as like sin issues and stuff. So like it was all these things were piled on at once, and I was like, why is this so upsetting that everything is going horribly? I mean, I'm a Christian. Why isn't everything going well? And then I kind of had a revelation of sorts in the next few weeks after that, of just being like, I need to do things not just because they're fun, but because they're good. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to dislike what I'm doing. It can be good and fun at the same time, but I have to be willing to do both, the things that are hard and the things that are fun. And so with that revelation, I obviously was reading a lot of the Bible that was telling me this, and I was doing research on it, and it was really eye-opening. And so within that next 2 weeks after that, I managed to get my first job at Dollar General. And then I also started my YouTube channel that same week that all of that stuff was going on. And you wouldn't know it from those first few videos. Those first few videos, I seemed really happy and stuff. But I was doing that as a way of being like, okay, I'm starting a job right now, and I don't necessarily want to do this job. It is a thing that I am required to do that is good for me, though. And so I was like, if I'm going to have something in my life that is hard to do and that I don't necessarily want to do, but I need to do, I need to have something in my life that I enjoy doing and that is also good. So along with starting my job, I started my YouTube channel, which was something, an avenue of creativity and something that I enjoyed to do, but it was also a good use of time as opposed to like something like video games or watching movies or TV shows. So that's it, it's kind of crazy to look back and see that how everything God worked everything in that time frame. Similarly to you, where it was just like as simple as seeing your cameras in the corner dusty. Like it's kind of crazy how God uses all of these little things to kind of motivate us and wake us up from like this like sleep paralysis almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it's very, that's why I think my YouTube channel is so close to is so important to me, because it really was part of the reason that I started being like, okay, I need to change. I need to do things that are not just fun, but also good things, like habits and, working on my relationship with the Lord and my relationships with friends and stuff like that. So yeah, so YouTube was, starting a YouTube channel was all encompassing in how the Lord started to use motivation in my life. But as far as the journey to now, what do you think was the thing that really kept you going as far as motivation? What was the thing that kind of kept you motivated, like when in those times when you'd be unmotivated, and then what was like the wake up call or something like that to kind of get you back into motivation
After that epiphany?
Yeah, after.
Okay,
now
so
that you had the epiphany.
So my motivation would shift because as your life changes, what motivates you can change as well.
Oh, absolutely.
At the time, what was motivating me was the potential opportunity to make this a full-time job for myself, where I work for myself and make money for just me kind of thing, instead of working for somebody else. So I basically used the opportunity to, in that year, I tried really hard to, grow the name of Masters Mind Media and stuff, and make YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the time, especially, it was like a big deal to get a YouTube partnership. But as time went on, and I was getting to the graduation from my AA degree, I didn't really feel that motivation as strongly, because I got to the point where I really wanted to what's the word I'm looking for? Actually make money consistently and reliably.
Mm-hmm.
And most of that motivation was a girl. I was very interested in someone that I was going to classes with at the time, and it was hard for me to even take myself seriously, because I looked at myself and saw someone who couldn't provide for even myself. Like, I still live with my parents, and if I wanted to move out, I couldn't afford to move out. Like, I didn't have the funding or the income to do it. So I was like, okay, I need to shift gears. So my motivation that made me make videos was gone, because now I started working for a restaurant. I got my first job, and I've been working ever since. Not in the same job, obviously, but I've had a boss since that day, since the end of that year. So the motivation, the way it changed, it took me a while to realize that I stopped making videos again, and I realized that my motivation was now shifting and changing, and I had to find a different reason, a different thing to grasp onto to motivate me, besides the obvious of the Lord gave me this, use it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that answer is very different for different kinds of people. I think it takes a lot of knowing who you are in Christ and as a person, to figure out what makes you tick, what keeps you going, and also just doing projects you enjoy doing. Because another thing that killed my motivation when I stopped being about money, I I used to pursue work like passionately. I would go out and seek out jobs, and I would try to get referred and what have you. But once the motivation to make this a full-time thing went away, I didn't feel motivated to go out and seek jobs I didn't feel like doing anymore. So the way that motivation came back was when I was doing videos for myself for fun. So then I started doing videos that I wanted to do, that I actually enjoyed, and that I actually found to be enjoyable to make. It felt like a hobby, which was hard for me to let go of, to grasp onto, because I didn't want to let go of the opportunity to make it a full-time gig. But my mom and my parents were encouraging me, were telling me it's okay if it's a hobby. You don't have to make money on this. If the Lord wants to bless it and make it a full-time thing, then he will. There's nothing wrong with having a hobby. So I finally got to the point where I accepted that this is a hobby, and I was enjoying it again. And my motivations came back because now I had projects I wanted to do myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool. Like, it's kind of the distinction between being motivated for something that is not necessarily life altering, and then being motivated for something that is life altering or very important to living, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's like the distinction between hobbies and, jobs. And if you manage to get a job that's also your hobby, then there you go, you've struck gold. But and that's why it's the dream for everyone, including us. But it's not necessarily a bad thing to have your hobby be separate from your job too. It is. I definitely am a firm believer that having a hobby, at least like one thing that is completely outside of the realm of importance when it comes to like it, just so that you can have an avenue of having fun, if you know what I mean. Like, and when I mean having fun,
I think it's good for people to have a hobby. I think it's good for like emotional and mental health, for one thing, to have a hobby. Mm-hmm. Because it's a way to decompress for a lot of people. And I think a lot of people that don't have hobbies are lacking that kind of like an escape, in a way of saying it, an escape from responsibilities, excuse me, that are actually very that are productive in their own way, even if it's not productive towards your well-being and livelihood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so I mean, I've noticed it's kind of hard to see when a hobby is good and when it is bad, because I would say that there's some hobbies that are probably not great, if you know what I mean. Or at least for that person might not be great. Like, there's certain hobbies that might impede your workflow or impede your lifestyle. Or
are you talking about drugs?
No. I'm just saying in general. Like, making an idol of your hobby can impede your workflow, and that's where maybe that hobby isn't the best thing for you, or maybe you need to dial it back a little bit. I mean,
that happens to me a lot with one of my other hobbies, video games.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep,
I'll go a while without playing games, and that's when you see the most productiveness out of me for videos. But then I burn myself out, and I feel like not doing the videos. Like, these past couple weeks, I've been so busy at work and so tired that I'll come home, and the only thing I want to do is I just want to relax. I'm so tired. I want to sit down and just play a game. And that's how I play games. I play games in bursts. So like I foresee myself playing more games than I normally did before for the next few weeks maybe. And then I'll be like, okay, I want to get back to videos again. So like I basically bounce between hobbies at this point.
Yeah, I find myself to do similar to what you're saying with the video games. I'm definitely in the burst mentality at this point in my life too, where it's like you work really hard for a while, and then you're just kind of, one day you come home and you're like, I'm going to jump on video games because I don't really feel like doing anything that's necessarily like hard or like requires my brain. Even though video games require your brain, just a different part of your brain.
And what's going to be fun for you is when you have all this homework now from college that you have to take care of after work.
Oh, definitely. That's why, like, and this can go into strategies for maintaining motivation. I have, over the past 2 years, there have been many times where I was like, okay, the last week I've done absolutely nothing except for go to work and then immediately come home and play video games. I feel like trash. I'm going
Yeah.
to, jump to the other side. And so I will like take my Xbox and like put it in a drawer and completely unplug it and like put my TV in another room so it's not even a thought or an option, or I'll
Right.
have to reassemble it to actually do it, so that when I come home from work, I'm not, oh, let me jump on video games. It's, oh, let me either read a book or make a video or write down some stuff in my journal, or stuff that is not necessarily essential for living, but stuff that is maybe a little bit better use of time. Because
Yeah,
there's hobbies.
that was how that strategy is a way that I would avoid temptations, like
Oh, absolutely.
and for example, when I'm dieting, like I'm almost at I mean I hit the goal weight, but I don't fluctuate at the goal weight yet. I want to weigh at most 180 pounds on a given day on a scale. But right now I'm at the lowest 180. So like I need to get to, I still am losing weight right now, but when I'm going to get to the point where where like on a day where I eat a lot, I'll be 180. And then on regular days, I'm more 175-ish on a lower day. So that's, but the way I mean, I've been trying to lose weight since January. And it's like mid-July now. So I'm expecting by August, I'll be at the goal weight I want to be. But in order to get there, I had to really change, lifestyle changes. Losing weight is not easy.
No.
And I never thought I would have to deal with that because I was a skinny kid for most of my life. Everyone's like, oh, that'll change. Like, yeah, right. And then it happened. I got a dad bod and I was like, oh gosh. So one of the things I did was similar to what you said. I made it harder on myself, not impossible, but harder on myself to eat the food I wanted to eat. So like I bought less frozen food that was easy to make. So if I had a craving for like some Totino's frozen pizza, because that's my jam, I would just pop it in the oven and the toaster oven, and it's ready in like 30 minutes at tops, and then I'm ready to go. But if I don't have any, like I have to be really, really motivated to go get it. And what would happen, and this is an extreme example, but this is essentially the method. If I decide to fall into that temptation, I have to actively act upon that temptation, but there's a lot of prep to do it. So the whole time my mind is in a battle now. So I could be driving to Publix the whole time, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Until I finally just like, I can't do this. I walk into Publix and I don't buy the food. And instead I'll probably just get like a drink and go and then leave again. Be like, never mind kind of thing. Maybe not even buy anything and just leave. But like it's the making it hard on myself for myself to act upon something I didn't want to do is a very good way to. It's kind of like stalling, like to give my better side of my will, and more in alignment with what I agreed to do for myself.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, motivation is, it's kind of hingent, I guess, on really being willing to fight what your flesh necessarily wants to do, and this especially comes in the case of temptations, but even in the case of doing something that is like good, because like I have this phrase that I say all the time nowadays, and it's like anything worth fighting for is going to be hard.
Yeah.
And it's just something that's been a real truth in my life recently. But anything that is, quite literally, if anything is worth doing, it's not going to be easy. Like, video games are easy to sit down and play. There's not much difficulty to. Maybe beating a video game is a little bit difficult, but the act of playing video games is not necessarily difficult in comparison to doing something that you may want to do, but it also requires a little bit of effort from you.
I'm gonna clarify because I think I got what you said because at first I didn't. You're not saying that video games are easy. You're saying that the act of sitting down and playing a game is easy.
Yes, because there are hard video games. Like, I can't play Super Mario Bros. As well as a lot of other people.
No,
but
and I play Halo every Sunday with
a
clan, and I'm not as good as half the guys that play.
Exactly. But, like, the act of sitting down and playing video games is easier than the act of maybe sitting down and reading a book. Which arguably is a better use of time. I mean, if we're just going to look at it.
It depends on the book,
rationally.
but yes.
Yeah, if I'm sitting down and I'm going to read a book about the Bible or something, or if I'm going to read a book about missions or something like that, then that's probably a better use of my time than watching a repeat of the first season of Stranger Things, for instance, or something like that.
Right.
So, yeah, that's something that it's a constant battle for me, especially is like I have all these books that I in my own personal library that I'm like I want to read these. Like I want to be able to look back. I'm very achievement minded, so like I want to be able to look back and say I read all of these, not necessarily to anybody, but just to myself. And so, but I have that desire to do it, but then I look at how hard it is to achieve as a comparison to like watching an episode or watching a season of a show. And I'm like, oh, well, that's easy. I just have to sit there and veg out, as opposed to sitting and actually reading and thinking about what I'm reading, you know? And so just because, and that's a big thing with motivation, is trying to balance which motivations are good and which motivations are bad. You know what I mean? If you've got two contradicting motivations where you're like, oh, I want to watch TV, but also I want to write a paper for school so that I don't necessarily, get an F or something like that, then you're going to have to find a way to push past that easy motivation and get to the thing that actually matters. And that can be really hard sometimes.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that kind of applies to all kinds of motivation that people that are listening may want to consider is, especially if you're a Christian, is to consider what you're doing with the time that has been given you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Period. And you have to consider, are you using it in a way that pleases the Lord? Because he gives us this time to use for his glory. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that means playing a video game so you can relax and recover. But other times that means do your hobby or do some work. Because what you're going to start coming back from college, having all this extra work, since I became a husband and now a father, I get home from work, my work is not done.
Yeah.
Like I try really hard to not show that I'm tired when I come home, just in case I come home and like it's like DEFCON 1 kind of things. Like I still need to be in the zone. So I try not to, like, I struggle with decompressing on my drive home. It's like, don't decompress. You're still working. Wait till you get home and make sure that everything is okay. And if everything is, then I can just collapse on the couch and be like, okay, I am ready to relax. And even then, the need to go into dad mode or husband mode might need to come back. So work, we were not created to be idle. Even Adam and Eve in a perfect world were called to work.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to consider as you make decisions moving forward.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening to the Created Creators podcast. Make sure to check us out on YouTube. Just search for Mikael or Andrew Sprott. If you want to engage in the conversation, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Created2Pod or use the hashtag Created2Pod. You can also email us at ccpodcast@icloud.com. Make sure you leave us a humbling 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, where you can also subscribe to us, as well as Spotify, Google Podcast, YouTube, or our sponsor, Anchor FM. Be sure to leave a question on our social media or email inbox and we'll answer it on the next episode. A new pod from us crash lands on the internets every Thursday. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
See you later, guys.